Hey, good evening, everyone, and welcome back. Wednesday night, the weekly ranked event here in RaceRoom. This is going to be a great one. We are running the FRX17 on the Spa-Francorchamps. Francorchamps. I can't say it right. Forgive my terrible accent when it comes to anything but English, and even that's pretty bad. But good evening to those on the East Coast. Happy late afternoon, early evening to those on the West Coast. Currently, where I am, so this is all happening very earlier than what it normally does. So, this is going to be fun. This is going to be fun to watch. You're going to have me for the entire time on commentary. We're also going to be joined by Theodore Insbury, another member, another admin of the North America RaceRoom Discord community. So you're not going to hear just my voice. You're going to hear both of us. Hopefully we bring you a good stream. Hopefully we provide the best information that we can for you, and hopefully you all enjoy it now and all the way to the very end. So disclaimer, I'm also sitting in a hotel. So I'm soaking up as much bandwidth as I can on this hotel Wi-Fi. So I'm crossing fingers the entire time that this will hold up, will continue to look good. And yeah, as always, we're recording as we go along with this. So we're streaming here on Twitch Live. We're also recording for an upload on YouTube. So if anyone is going to be stopping by on Twitch and you're not a subscriber of the YouTube channel, find your way over there. There's a link right within our profile here on Twitch to find our YouTube. That's where you'll find all of the videos that we've done, either live or replay records of all the things we're involved with, all the RaceRoom ranked races and all the North America RaceRoom unranked races. So it is quite the growing archive, living archive of everything that we're a part of. So if you like what you see tonight and you're kind of new to seeing, one of our streams, then find your way over to the YouTube side of things. And get a subscribe to it or a follow, whatever you want to call it, whatever you need to do to not pay us money, because I don't want your money. I want you to just follow our channel, give thumbs up, likes, comments, get your notifications set up. Same for Twitch. Follow over here, get your notifications set up and ready to go. That way you can see whenever we go live, wherever we go live, or you can see when a video goes up. In addition to Twitch and YouTube, as I always do, we have our Twitter, we have our Instagram. You'll find what that is within the profile here on Twitch, within the details of the video on YouTube. So if you're into Twitter or you're into Instagram and you want to find us within those realms, please do, and search us out, follow us, friend us, whatever that is, and to go from there. Lastly, we've got the actual Discord. If you're not a member of it already, make sure and get an invite link wherever you can find one. There's one here on Twitch. There's one on YouTube. They're everywhere. Get yourself an invite link and jump into the Discord. From there, you have access to anything we're a part of, whether it be RaceRoom or any sim out there that deals with race cars and racing and sim racing. You'll find all the information you need. So, and that involves, like I said, all the ranked stuff, all the unranked things that we do. Season 3 for us is coming up. And it's going to be a GT4 season over 8 weeks. So season 4 will follow pretty soon afterwards. So we're not giving any details out about that, but if you want to know, once that information is available, get into the Discord, find your way there. So find us wherever you can find us, and if you're on some place that we're not on, let us know. We'll get there, and we can link them that way. So yeah, so what we're going to try to find Theodore here. We also have Mr. Theodore Insbury in here with us as well. He was here. He may be coming back here shortly.
Good evening, everybody.
There he is. So welcome, Mr. Insbury.
Thank you. Good to have me.
I just went through all the various things that I say normally with one of our intros. So we're kind of here. We're all ready to go. What I was gonna do is that if people aren't really familiar with the FRX17 within RaceRoom before we get into qualifying, I had actually taken a screenshot that you won't see, Theodore, because you're just watching the race stream. But what I have here is information of the FRX17. So for RaceRoom, this technically is a car from the year 2017, but it has a V10 engine. If you're familiar with Formula One, the V10 was last used in 2005. So this is kind of like a little Frankenstein type of vehicle. There's DRS involved. And it's really just flat out all the way. And I'm not sure what the maybe you know, Theodore, of what the top out speed can be in one of these, but it's pretty fast.
Probably about 210, 215 miles an hour, I reckon.
Maybe
220 if you trimmed it out, Monza.
There you go. So, if anyone's watching our stream right now or the video later on YouTube, there's kind of the how RaceRoom has detailed these vehicles out and how they are. So if you don't own this vehicle, I was just grabbing one of them. You don't have to grab all the liveries, but grab one of them because they are very fun, especially after the force feedback updates. They've gotten a lot better. So
yeah, lots of downforce. Full commitment. It's a proper single seater, as we say, across the other side of the pond. It's. I suppose it's the F1 car that the fans wish existed with the V10. Sounds good. So yeah, it should be a really good race, this one. Lots of people have been practicing during the week and just building up to it. I think cars like this require so much commitment that you really need to get into the zone and really trust what the car's going to do. So I know there's been a few members who've been trading lap times and setups and stuff and trying to sort of build up to that pace of it. As you see, John
almost he avoided very closely there a disaster on his outlap, it looked like. But I was gonna say, yes, I tried this combination very quickly before having to leave on business, but I was falling into the traps of shifting like a GT3 car. Some of these corners you have to shift down very quickly from 6 almost to 1. And if you're not used to that, then you're going to have a lot of trouble.
Yeah, there's a lot of compression in that V10, a lot of engine braking, so yeah, it's very easy to lock the rear axle despite having quite wide rear tyres and a lot of downforce.
Just so everyone's there's no timings on the standings board, as I like to call it, there yet. Everyone's still on their outlap. Theo Lupu here is on his first valid lap, as you can see, with a purple sector 1, but there are 23 people currently in the server. And as always with ranked, people have made it through practice and they're into qualifying, so if they drop out now, well, that's not true anymore. I was going to say they would incur some kind of penalty to their reputation, but I don't think that's true anymore. I think you have all the way until the end of qualifying, right, to drop out.
Yeah, I think that's the case nowadays.
Right.
So yeah, we could see a rash of people dropping out near the end of qualifying, but looking at the names on the board, I think we should retain hopefully quite a few races.
I would say that we're probably good for keeping cross the fingers, anywhere from 12 to 15, just if the names are out there, from ones that we normally deal with or that we race with within the North America RaceRoom community. So we should see a pretty good amount, more than what people would probably have thought of in the beginning of all this. So
yeah, I think the lack of Grand Prix action at this track at the weekend has probably whetted people's appetites to see or do some racing here.
For sure. And I don't think this vehicle has come up in an endurance probably since Imola way back earlier in the year, I believe.
I think that's correct. I spotted that Spa was on the regular ranked 15-minute schedule a couple of months ago. But yeah, this is the first FR17X, I believe I got my nomenclature right, Enduro since then.
Yeah, so that might also be bringing a lot of people out, as they're not often seen, and maybe folks are just wanting a change from the GT3, which for the last couple of weeks is kind of what it's been, or a GTE or some kind of GT class within endurance.
Yeah, it's nice to get a nice diverse mix of cars. I'm got my fingers crossed at some point we'll see an FR90 Enduro, and I'll be all over that like a cheap suit.
Maybe, let's see, the FR90, if I'm remembering, that's the IndyCar equivalent, right?
No, that's the early 90s F1 car. So there's like three versions. There's one with a V8, one with a V10, and one with a V12. Yeah, it's the old sleek, small wings, big slicks, and sort of yeah, it's a lot of fun.
There you go. The FRUS is probably the one I'm thinking of. That's like the IndyCar equivalent, I believe.
Yes, I do believe the FIUS is probably going to be getting a physics update at some point soon, maybe. There's a few rumours that's in the works, but yeah, as they're slowly going through and updating their cars, that'll be really interesting to get our hands on when that does come out. Similarly, like this car, it's about the same sort of vintage. I think it's 2016, 2017 era IndyCar. So if anybody's familiar with that kind of era of IndyCar, that was when they had huge aero kits from Honda and Chevrolet, which obviously aren't replicated in this game. It's a representation, but yeah, that's a very high downforce IndyCar. It's probably the second most insane car after this one.
So it looks like some people are starting to put in some times, which is good. So that means they're hopefully looking to stay around for the next 13 minutes and then into the race. And I'd have to say that some of these folks that probably are, let's see what, some 4, 5, even 9 seconds off Theolupu, their number one, they might be thinking of kind of like what I was saying earlier this week is. It will pay off to be fast in this race, but it's also going to pay off to be smart and to really not crash anywhere. With these cars, if you have too much throttle at any time, you're going to spin around multiple times and maybe even damage your car enough where you're completely out of the race. So some of these folks may be thinking of the long game of being there at the end when someone else may not be there at the end.
Yeah, completely. To quote my favourite F1 commentator, Mr. Martin Brundle, to finish first you must finish. And yeah, these are very, very easy to loop around, very, very tricky. And to get time out of them, you've got to attack everywhere. So that means attacking every braking point, attacking every apex with speed, getting on the throttle as early as possible. And because everything happens so quickly, it's just so easy to make a mistake.
Right. That is correct. I mean, I love a good open wheeler, but then you've got the other side of the pendulum, I guess you could say, where they're fun, but then again they could also be instant death at any point at any time. So
completely. With this amount of downforce, the issue you get is where as a car turns into the corner, it begins to yaw. And basically what you have is, with very aggressive cars like this, is as you yaw, as the car starts to slide and the rear comes around, you can lose a lot of downforce, and that makes them incredibly tricky to drive. It punishes small mistakes. You get slightly too much slip angle in the car, and yeah, you're going to have a big job trying to save that. That's what means that they really punish you.
They do punish, and they can punish fast.
Yeah. Once it starts to go, it's gone.
Yeah, there's no way of bringing it back unless you somehow don't hit a wall and you can make your way back onto the circuit.
Yeah, completely. It's going to be a test of driving within yourself, as well as trying to drive as quickly as possible. It's sort of it's going to be a proper Grand Prix in that sense, where like you have to push on every lap, but you've also got to be mindful that just that slight stepping over the limit is gonna it's gonna hurt. And not just in terms of making mistakes or crashing, but also you will lose quite a bit of time by sliding the car around. I mean, that can also happen as we see it on stream. Right there, someone just gets a little bit too much speed on the apex of the bus stop, and the rear comes around. You can lose a lot of time by making the car understeer too much and scrubbing the front tyres. There's quite a lot of fast corners on this track, and you can just lose plenty of time, particularly in P1, which I think we're approaching now on the stream with John. If you let the car understeer too much, you're just going to kill your mid-corner speed, and that's going to kill your speed all the way down the straight to Lifania and the chicane, which also can be incredibly frustrating. And actually it can also be almost as dangerous as carrying too much speed into the corner from a driving standpoint, because the front tyres are sliding, and as you come out the corner and you undo the lock, the front tyres will begin to grip again. And there'll come a point where the front tyres grip, and if you're not conscious of this, and you're not expecting that, the front tyres, because they've got so much grip, you've got so much downforce, it can literally hook the car around. It's a common sort of death mechanism that you usually associate with Porsche 911s.
So for those that are watching or keeping an eye on the timing standings board there, Jean Kobos. That's how I'll say it. It's probably wrong, so my apologies ahead of time. And also, I'll apologize if anyone watches this back and I get your name wrong. Just an open apology. Sorry about that. But he has gotten into the 143.3, so he's inching ever closer to a 142, which is a very fast time, and has left everyone about a second behind him, at least here in qualifying. So it'd be interesting to see if he can keep that up when it comes to race time. I'm sure he's in full quali mode, so it'll be interesting how much people change their cars compared to what their race setup is going to be like.
Yeah, completely. I reckon a fast qualifying setup around Spa would probably be quite low downforce to get that lap time, because a 1:43.3 is an extremely quick lap time. So that's got him way out there. I'd expect the race pace to be more or less in the high 44s, maybe low to mid 45s, depending on what strategies people are pulling. But yeah, I'd expect some of the really fast guys to have a qualifying setup and a race setup that is just slightly more forgiving to drive. Yeah, it's interesting watching Theo Lupi there. He's on a quick lap. He's already a 10th up on the session leader in Sector 1. He should be coming around to into Sector 2 soon. I think it's on the exit Stavolo. So you'll see what sort of lap that he's running. He might be doing a slightly different strategy than others. We'll see how that plays out. But he's another one that's got a lot of speed. He was running 44 flats in practice. And yeah, this is going to be a very quick time. His previous time was a 44.7, but he's just 2/10 off the leader's time now through Sector 2. So we'll see as he comes through the end of the lap to see what he can achieve and put on the board. Hopefully he doesn't lose too much time in the braking zone at the bus stop here. Holds a nice line through the second part. Hopefully gets on the throttle quite quickly. The line will be coming up. Yeah, that's a massive improvement.
So that's definitely showing his true pace there at the moment. Jeff Hooten as well. People are starting to not figure it out, but I think they're starting to show their qualifying hand now with some low times being set. Starting to push it a little bit extra to try to remain up there in the top, 5 or 6.
Yeah, completely. Usually in a session like this, I like to split it in half. I like to do with the first half relatively conservative, try and get a lap time on the board, so I'm not completely at the end of the grid if I have an issue on my hot laps. And then the second half of the session about now, really put low fuel in and really go for it. Yeah, Jeff lost a decent chunk of time there in Sector 2. He had a very quick Sector 1, so I wonder if he's running a very low downforce setup on that car. That would suggest to me that's the sort of avenue he's pursuing, but he seemed to make quite a big mistake at the bus stop. As we watched John with an absolutely mega Sector 1, a 289 flat, he actually did no practice for this race and decided to jump in and see where he gets. So it'll be interesting to see what he can do. Very talented driver, very good driver, knows Spa extremely well. So I'm excited to see what he posts here.
If I'm remembering correctly, didn't he win the 2.4 hours of Spa?
He did. Yeah, he won that from Jeff Hooten. Right. Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen John headed in a GT3 car at Spa ever, to be honest. He's very, very good around here.
Right. So we'll stick on board with him here for just a second. He was purple in Sector 1, and then a green Sector 2, so the best for him, but not a session best. With a spin there, that'll just ruin his lap altogether there. So
yeah, he's probably going to block this lap, but he was able to not get an off track there at the bus stop. He can probably go for another lap after that without any issues. Yeah, Jeff's with a personal best in Sector 2, but still a second off the pace. So I do wonder whether he's running a lower downforce setup than others. Good line through the bus stop. Yeah, good exit. Gets hard onto the power, but looks like he's going to get the... Yeah, so that's a good lap time, puts him fourth. Slight improvement.
And just for the for everyone out there watching currently now on Twitch, or if you're watching later on YouTube, if you'll keep an eye on the name of the racer that it's focused on, you'll see the tire compound there on the right hand side, with the soft, medium, or hard. So that'll kind of give you an indication of what they may be running. However, we found out that these cars, you can do multiple compounds. So you could have soft in the front and medium or hard in the on the rear tires, or vice versa. You can have some type of combination of tire compounds. And I believe the software will only show you like what would be the, if you have soft on there at all, it's going to show softs. Or if you have a medium and a hard, then it'll show medium. It's going to show the lower compound, as I call it, of what might be on there. So if anyone's wondering what someone might have on for their tires, because strategies will come into play with pits. You've got soft, medium, and hard tires. You have people that may go full tank of fuel. You may have some that go 50 liters, or there's going to be a lot of combinations of what people try to do. We saw earlier DDF, currently in the chat on Twitch. He did 3 stops. Some folks may try to do all 3, like he did, or they may do 2 stops, or they may try any type of combination of stops. So it's going to be very interesting how everything cycles around once pit stops do come up, and when they come up for actual people. So you're going to see a lot of shuffling on the timing screen there. As folks start to come in and out of the pits, people might move up and whatnot. So it's going to be, I would say, probably this combination or this race compared to any other of the weekly events, we'll probably see the most shuffles of positions, just based off of number one, like how fast people are going, or how slow people are off the pace with back markers, or when pits start coming around. It might get a little bit crazy. It'll add to our enjoyment. It probably will not add to the enjoyment of those out there, because now you're having to, fight with someone who may be slower than you, who's gotten ahead due to your pit stop, or you might be fighting with a back marker who's well off the pace, but now you have to find some place to get around them safely for yourself and for them, but then also keep up your speed and keep up your pace as well. So it's going to be a crazy race. At least we hope. We hope it's not boring. But we won't know until the end. So stick around, and we'll all find out together. Simple as that.
It's gonna be a very interesting tactical race. You mentioned DDF and his victory in the Oceania server this morning. I think one of the reasons why he was able to pull it off was that he committed to the 3-stop from the outset. I was discussing strategy with Mr. Lupu this morning, and he was deciding, does he want to do a 3-stop? Can he try and do it on a 2-stop? Because it's marginal with two sets of tires, whether you can get it home. But realistically, the quickest way of doing it is to attack a strategy and commit to that strategy from the outset.
That is correct. So there are your qualifying results, and it's actually showing 17, and just looking at the software, only 17 people remain. So we had 23 at one point, and it looks like we've lost probably about 5 or 6, whether that's due to how RaceRoom sometimes will kick someone out with the various issues they've been having a little bit with servers, or ping, or people just wanted to drop out by the very end, seeing the pace being set. So we at least have 17 here at the start of the race, which is a great number for this combination, this vehicle, more than I was expecting myself personally. So it's a very good thing to see, and hopefully all 17 are around at the very end of this. But we'll find out here once the 90 minutes are up. So
yeah, it's gonna be one of those cases where it's gonna be a long race. It's an hour and a half, I believe, 90 minutes. So yeah, it's gonna be just trying to settle into a pace, trying to find your rhythm, drive your race rather than trying to get into any battles with anybody to start off with, and try not to make any mistakes. It's very, as we discussed earlier, it's very, very easy to do so. The pit entry we were discussing actually before the stream started. It's a very, very tricky pit entry because it's as you come around the first part of the bus stop, it's blind on the right hand side, and you have to aim at a wall and hopefully make a very sharp left hand turn and then gun it before hitting the pit limit line.
So it looks like everyone is out on the grid. The lights are on. There's your first set. There they go. And they're out and away. So here we are. 17 people out there. They're fanning out like crazy to try not to hit each other. Theolupu's up here in P1. He goes around the corner. Jeff Hooten was in 3. That's about 5 wide going down the back end there. People are everywhere.
It's like our pole system got shuffled out to the outside there and has dropped to 11th, which is not very good for them because they were pretty quick in practice.
Let's go on board with Theolupu here. I think he started 3rd. I should have looked. I think he still is 3rd. Jeff Hooten
goes to the aggressive move down the inside into
a little bit of contact there. A little bit of contact there.
Yeah, I think he got a very a big draft, as we see Spa-Francorchamps dropping it on no name really. It's all a bit tight, close quarters. You'd thought people would just want to settle down, settle into the race. It's going to be a long one.
It is. As the saying goes, it's either won or lost on turn 1, lap 1. So, not that that's what people are doing, but sometimes that's the way. Sometimes it just happens that way, where you get all juiced up on lap 1, where you don't want to do any of that, but it kind of just happens because that's where you put yourself.
Yeah, completely. As a person who famously managed to spin at the start of a 2-hour race at La Source on the first lap and watch the entire field go by myself, yeah, I know that feeling.
Right. Let's see. Cabos. He was one that was way out. He was back in 11th, and he's already made his way back up into 3rd, P4, trying to get around Matthias Liro, which we've seen his name before. He's from Argentina. He was kind of blinking in and out there a little bit, which he still is, so that may be some ping issues happening everywhere because he's skating around like crazy.
Yeah, you've got a John like Zorek on his tail. He's going to try and put the move on him down the outside and play calm. Interesting to see that Kobos is on the soft tyre, so he's going to want to try and get out of traffic as soon as he can, and try and exploit the grip in those tyres. He's probably running lower fuel than if you were trying to one-stop it, so I'd expect him to do a 2 or a 3 stop even. Yeah, he then clears John into Brussels, so that's good for him. Yeah, John's running the medium tyre, so John's going to be going longer in this first stint. He's either going to try and run a long first stint and a couple of short second stints, or he's going to try and cut it in half, race in half and just stop at half distance. You want to obviously minimise the amount of stops you make, but with these cars, because the fuel has such an effect on lap time, so every extra kilo of fuel you add, you're going to have to accelerate that mass, you have to brake that mass. So that's why you see people like DDF did with his 3-stopper, running the car light, because it's just quicker. It's quicker, it's easier to drive, it's easier on tyres as well, and enables you to fully exploit those soft tyres.
And if everyone can tell, Theo he's using a DRS right now as it's blinking green there to the left of his name, and I believe they get three DRS a lap if they're within 1 second of the person ahead of them. So DRS will play pretty heavily at times as well. As that Carlos De La Torre, he was off at the bus stop, making his way back here in 9th.
Yeah, it's all a bit hectic. He's on the hard tyre, so he's going to be going long definitely. He's probably going to be hating life right now. He's feeling quite slow, but it's a function of his tyres rather than his driving. As we see Jeff, who's on the medium, so it's good for Theo Lupu to clear Jeff there and try and get on with his race. He's running either a 2 or a 3 stop on the soft tyres, so he's going to have to attack fully to start off with. But yeah, there's a bit of contact there between Kobos and Hooten. Yeah, it's getting a bit over aggressive there for Jeff, but he's got to realise that even though those guys have passed him, he's on a different strategy to them. They're both on soft tyres. Even being able to hold them up by a lap or two by function of the shuffling at the start, that brings it more into his realm and his strategy window, because those drivers can't exploit their soft tyres quite as much as they need to.
Right, and I think you also have to watch out for, which I think I heard some folks in DDF stream talk about that were actually racing, that these tires, you can actually blow these tires out, I think, right?
Yeah, I think so. We were looking at tyre wear before the race, and I think that you need about 201 points of wear roughly. So basically, what that means is that you need at least one pit stop, and if not, you're going to have to, if you're going to do one pit stop, you're going to have to eke out a set of tyres a little bit beyond its normal life. So you have to be kind to them, and because you're running them that low, the risk of punctures obviously is quite high. Once they get to 0% and there's nothing left, then you know it's a blowout waiting to happen.
Right. Which also means you should be mindful of not trying to go side by side and bump into people, as that will obviously take a life off of your tires and potentially blow one out right then and there on you. So.
Yeah, and also getting involved in battles and stuff. These cars don't have ABS. Obviously, they've got a lot of downforce, which obviously means you can brake extremely hard. But if you do lock up a wheel, you will put a flat spot on that tyre and it will wear prematurely. And also, if you've got a flat spot on the tyre, every time you come to brake, the tyre finds itself onto that flat spot again by virtue of it having a flat side. That brake will continue to grab, and it's a situation that just gets worse and worse and worse.
I know the feeling. I've been there with a flat tire. I think the DTM 2020s can also, those can have flat spots too and everything.
Yes, yeah.
I have felt that for quite a bit in one race, and it was not fun. So I can only imagine in these having a flat spot and feeling that all the way until a pit stop, unless you make an early pit stop to get rid of it.
Yes, yeah, I did a race at Salzburg Ring in the IMSA GTO cars, and that was my first experience with flat spots in RaceRoom. And I managed to stick a flat spot on the inside front tyre, so that would be the right front. And yeah, every time I came down to brake into the chicane, the first chicane, just kept finding that flat spot, and it just gets worse and worse and worse. And eventually I think the tyre ended up actually blowing. But yeah, it's not the most ideal scenario ever. Yeah, as you see, Lupu's managed to pull out 2.3 seconds now on Kobos. It looks like Kobos is a bit quicker, but he managed to get into it with Jeff Hooton there a couple of laps ago. That's really sort of checked his progress onto the lead. But even if he does get up to the back of Lupu, he would be well served just to sort of not engage, not try and race him at this stage of the race, because these guys run a different strategy to Jeff Hooton and I think Jeff Lacey behind as well. We see Emery Anderson's doing well in 5th, just got ahead of John Wegzorek. But I don't know whether he's running the soft tyre. Yeah, he's running the soft tyre, and John's running the medium tyre. So we're seeing this this strats play out in this phase of the race already.
Yeah, I think from just I know we keep referring to DDF stream earlier. That was the one that I was able to watch of this combination. But I think he was going about 13 or 14 laps on soft tires and like 50 some liters of fuel, if I can remember correctly. So it will not be long until pit stops actually start happening for the folks on soft tires, and as they tend to wear out, obviously pretty fast. So a shakeup will happen sooner than later, and someone's off into the side. Who is that?
It's Emery. Fortunately, I think he just broke a bit too late going into Stavelot. It's a very easy thing to do because it's slightly downhill into that corner.
Yeah, that's Matteo. No, that wasn't Skeptra. That was Christopher Barnes, who just got back by Emery Anderson there. I think Christopher just got done using a DRS.
Yeah, he's doing quite well there in 7th, hard tyres. He's going to be coming back into play as the medium tyres wear. As you see, Skeptra loop it around on a very ill-advised attempt to pass John there. He would be better served waiting to try and get the DRS on up the hill. It's very difficult to pass at La Source. Again, it's one of those ones where it's cambered at the apex, so if you get a bit too hot on the inside, the rear will just swing around.
And it's never a good place to spin in any vehicle on this track right there, because probably 99% of the time you're going to get hit right in the side with someone not realizing you're there.
Yeah, Mick Hakkinen famously did that at the start of the Belgian Grand Prix one year. As you see, as Christopher Barnes just goes off. With these cars as well, because they're carrying so much downforce, it's easy to forget that the wash, the dirty air coming off the back of it, does affect your handling for the car behind. So again, it's you really got to drive with your head rather than drive with feel, as people usually do.
Which is also why Theo Lupu tried to get out ahead as quick as he could and try to get as far away as he could. That way he wouldn't have to deal with any dirty air, and he just said clear air the entire way. But as we see, Kobos here is trying to make his way back up to Mr. Lupu here in P1, P2.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see whether Kobos is on a 3-stopper versus Lupu on a 2-stopper. I think Lupu was before the race was more looking towards the 2-stopper, so that'd be carrying about 72, 73 litres of fuel versus 55 for somebody on a 3-stop. So if we assume that Kobos is on a 3-stop, he's going to have what, less than 20 litre advantage. So you reckon 10 litres of fuel is what, 0.2, 0.3, so 10 kilos of fuel is 0.2, 0.3 seconds a lap deficit, just from, again, accelerating and braking that mass. He's probably got a speed advantage just based on fuel, probably approaching half a second, which explains why he's been able to catch up to Lupu quite quickly.
I'm just looking through the times here. Mr. Lacey's getting about 5/10 behind Jeff Hooton here for P3 and P4. Jeff Lacey's on the soft tires. Jeff Hooton's on the medium tires. Two individuals who, if you've seen them race before on a stream or with us in the North America Race Room, they are both very good racers. So this is probably expected out of both of them to be up near the front and probably stay up near the front. So we'll see how they do here. Jeff Lacey's just just popped the DRS, so he's got one more remaining. So he might do it after the bus stop, or unless that was his last one, which it might be.
Yeah, he should get a good exit here.
Oh,
I
no.
reckon he'll try and
There he goes.
attack. Yeah, I reckon he'll try and attack out of Eau Rouge up the Camel Straight. Probably trying to set him up through La Source. He seems to be getting better exits, which is consistent with the softer tyres.
We're going to jump back up here, Kobos, with the DRS. So I was going to say there's probably about 3 places really where DRS is useful. Probably down this straight, the back straight, and then probably after the bus stop, I would assume.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think with these cars, as we see, Kobos made a slight mistake, just getting too aggressive behind Lupu. I think with these cars, they carry so much downforce, particularly on the underbody, that with the DRS you can hold it flat through Blanchimont, which is the corner into the bus stop, whilst having it open. As we see Christopher Barnes again with a bit of a agricultural pass on John Wagzorek there, who's not having the funnest of times in this race. That's a little bit of contact there. It was a good move by Christopher Barnes there on the outside with the hard tyres on the brakes.
Neither one of them wanted to give up that spot or that space, so they both went in there pretty hard.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, he's got good pace, Christopher Barnes, considering he's running the hard tyres. I wonder if he'll be trying a one-stop strategy or not. It's kind of difficult because obviously the amount of fuel you're going to have to carry for one stop. But it's possible if he is, he might be looking good for a top 3 finish at this stage.
Here we see Jeff Lacey trying to make some moves here on Jeff Hooten, which it looks like he got a heck of a run out of the bus stop with a DRS. So that's going to push him up into P3. It's going to push Jeff Hooten down into P4. Now these two are almost 11 seconds behind P1 and P2 of Theolupu and Jean Kobos. And Jean is once again right up to the backside of Theolupu. Looks like he just got done with some DRS. So now he's going to follow. He's going to try to follow him as close as he can. Was certainly not trying to. What am I trying to say? He's going to try to get as close as he can without actually making any contact. But I don't think you'd see him using a DRS until they get. Which, Theodore, you probably know the turn in the straight better than I do. Whatever the back straight is.
Yeah, you come out of I think corner Paul Frere now. It used to be the exit of Stavelot. It used to be it's named after the village that's a couple miles up the road. But yeah, this corner here is Stavelot, and then this corner up here is as people just uses the throttle a little bit is corner Paul Frere. It's named after a late Belgian racing driver. As we go down the back straight, this is back on the old circuit, the old famous old Spa, and we're going into Blanchimont, which is a flat out left-hander and on towards the bus stop. On the brakes again, using his DRS to try and close up, but he's getting a bit too aggressive, I think, behind Theolupu. He just needs to wait for an opportunity because he's losing time and he keeps dropping back and coming forward. If he just sat behind Lupu for a second or so, he would probably, as we see Lupu made a slight mistake there, a little bit deep on the brakes, you'd get an opportunity just by pressuring the driver in front.
Right. And you're also seeing him use DRS kind of at, I won't say odd places, but odd places that you wouldn't normally see DRS. He used it clear down before Eau Rouge. Obviously it worked out because he's now in front of Theolupu, but that's pretty scary to use DRS going up Eau Rouge. I would think.
I can't think of a worse place to use it, but I think it was Lupu went deep on the brakes. I think he was trying to capitalise on the mistake there. And yeah, it worked out for him. So we'll see what kind of pace that he can run now. He's in clear air, assuming that he's on a 3-stopper, as we suspect, given his pace differential. Considering he was only 0.2 ahead of Theolupu in qualifying. So if he is on a 3-stopper, I'd expect him to be looking at pit stop around lap 13, lap 14. Whereas if you're on a if you're on a 2-stopper, you'd be looking to pit somewhere around, if I get my maths right, about 17, 18.
You're probably correct. I'm not very good at math either, and I didn't do enough testing or practice to know when you should stop for anything. But you saw Kobus there using DRS, obviously still in front of Theolupu, so he's going to try to increase his gap by using DRS before his lap ended there. Now he won't have any. Theolupu is outside of that 1 second window, so he won't have DRS. So now they're going to be just racing up the hill with no DRS assist up that way.
Yeah, as we see immediately, Kobo set a 43, the new fastest lap. So yeah, I would expect he's running quite low on fuel because his qualifying pace was a low 43. As we see John Wagzorek, who's now down in 10th, he's had a very tough race so far. There's been a lot of argy-bargy in this race, I have to say. I'd expect it to be a little bit cleaner.
It's going to get even worse for him because he now has a drive-through penalty for ignoring slowdown warnings.
Yeah, bad day at the office gets a little worse. But he's just got to keep his head. It's a long race. People will make mistakes, as we've seen. And he's a very quick driver. Once he settles into his groove, then he'll be able to rip off fast laps. This might actually work inadvertently in his favour in terms of it might drop him out into clear air where he can just get his head down and just find his rhythm.
Right. And on a medium, I mean, that might still only make, 3 quote-unquote pit stops. I mean, one drive-through, and he may have been doing a 2-stopper anyways, so it may not kill his entire race. It'll put him back a little bit further, but as you said, now he's in clean air, so now he can just try to rip off some good laps, one after the other.
Yeah, it's the beautiful Lightning Larry Perkins tribute livery for our friends down in Australia and New Zealand. They'll remember that one fondly.
So just according to the times on the screen there, everyone's kind of fanned out beyond a second from each other. It looks like there's about a 3.5 second lead with Kobos over Theolupu, and then from Theolupu to Jeff Lacey there is about a 13-second gap with Jeff Lacey and Jeff Hooten back there kind of in a small 2-man group, and then Matteo Scriptura, he's about 17-18 seconds back in P5, so some pretty big gaps at this point, but as we said, pit stops will come into play sooner than later, so a lot of those times will start to bunch back up, and you'll probably see some folks start to overtake others while they're in the pits. So
yeah, it'll be interesting to see who's on a 3-stop, who commits early, or who's on a 2-stop. I'll be interested to see what strategy Jeff Hooten's on, because he's the first runner who's on a medium tyre. Everyone in front of him is on a soft tyre, as it looks like John Wagzorek is the first one to duck for pit road, I think.
Let's see. Who's that? Brashad Murphy. He has jumped into the pits. Looks like John Wyzorek's coming in. So those two. Ken Garbett is still out there. So yeah, Brashad Murphy and John Wyzorek have come in for their first pit stops of the day.
That's interesting. That suggests to me that John was on a 3-stop fuel load with the medium tyre, unless he's got damage from an incident out on track that he needs to repair, because I'd expected him to go a lot longer into the first stint of the race on the medium tyre.
Oh, wait a minute. I'm sorry. I'll put this on director.
Yeah, Theolupu's closed the gap up. It had extended to about 2.5 seconds. Now it's bound to 1.8 to the race leader, Jean Kobos. But yeah, I'd expect Kobos to be in either this lap or the next lap if he's running a 3-stop strategy. If he goes to lap 15, lap 16, it's possible he's trying to eke it out on a 2 with a longer stint. But I'm pretty sure that Lupu is on a straight 2-stop strategy, judging by his pace. On the soft tyres and in clear air. But it's interesting that Jeff Lacey, who was a bit back in the pack to start off with, fitted these soft tires, which is a kind of a reverse strategy. Usually, if you're out of position on the grid and he's one of the quicker drivers in the field, you'd expect him to fit the harder tire and go longer in the first stint to try and find some sort of clean air. But he's made that soft tire work by being able to be aggressive in the early going. As we saw, it was quite punchy to start off with, and that seems to be paying dividends for him. Yeah, let's take another quick lap for Lupu. He's closed the gap up again, another 0.3 of a second. Be interesting to see what he comes across the line. Looks like it was probably an invalid lap. But yeah, he's definitely closing the gap now on the race leader. So it could be that the race leader's in tyre trouble. They're both running soft tyres, and their soft tyres do wear by about 4% per lap. So it's quite a noticeable drop-off in performance, and you can definitely feel that when you're driving the car.
Yeah, Theo's last lap, at least according to the software, was a 1:45.25.
Okay, so yeah, he's running quite a good quick race pace. His fastest laps are 45.0, it looks like. So he's running close to his optimal at this stage, which is good. And Christopher Biles is doing well on the hard tyre. I believe he's the highest running hard tyre runner. So as the soft and medium tyres begin to wear, the hard tyre will begin to gain in terms of lap time, because it will not wear quite as quickly. So therefore, as the fuel load comes down, you can start running quicker than the cars in front.
And just for information, he's the only one on hard tires at the moment.
Interesting. I half expected John Wexorek to take an alternative strategy like that, considering he was quite out of place on the grid compared to his practice types, especially, were very quick.
So John has now jumped. He's on softs. So Theodore, I'm going to leave this thing on auto director for a second. I need to make a quick phone call, but I'll be right back.
It's okay. I'll hold down the fort. It's interesting, as we saw Theo Lupu there managed to pass Kobos there for the lead in traffic. The back marker was just slightly balked Kobos through Blanchimont. Lupu was able to get position on the outside, make the move stick. But as we enter lap 16, 15 laps complete, I believe, we see that Kobos is still out there. So it tells me that he's probably going to be running a 2-stop fuel load versus the 3-stop, which we originally thought. Which then suggests that he actually has just a straight pace advantage over Theo Lupu at this stage. Which is quite interesting, because their qualifying times were very close together. But as you can see with these cars, making mistakes in them means that you lose a lot of time. And as you can see, that even though Kobos has got the higher race speed to start off with, he's behind Theo Lupu on the track, and that's just a function of not being able to run a clean and consistent lap time, which is more important than the outright fastest lap. It's often said that the slowest lap you do is what dictates your overall speed. It's very true in cars like this, as we see a car there off to the left on the exit. But Kobos is coming back towards Lupu. He's got DRS obviously within a second of Lupu at the line, and he's employing them to get closer to him. So it'd be interesting to see what he does now as we're approaching the first pit window, whether he decides to fight, which looks like he is. He's not peeling off to the pit lane. It seems like he wants to try and just get past Lupu and get on with his race as normal. But again, it's going to be a tough pass, as he experienced last time, where it took a mistake by Theo Lupu just outbraking himself slightly, going for the source, to open the door for Jean Kobos to be able to get onto the DRS and get the draft up the Camel Straight and into Le Combe. But he doesn't look like he's going to be close enough as it is now, but he's opened the DRS again down the Camel Straight, but he's still not close enough to launch an attack into Le Combe and through Malmedy. So we'll just see what he does in terms of where he tries to probe the attack on Lupu. It's very difficult to pass in the middle sector at Spa, despite it being quite a fast-flowing circuit. The corners, despite being quite spread out in most cars, in these cars they feel quite close together because of the speed that you're traveling, the acceleration you're accelerating from one to the other. So it kind of is very difficult to try and get ground on someone else if they make a mistake on corner exit. But as we're coming towards Stavolo now, it's going to be where Jean Cobos wants to be closer to Lupu to try and get that slipstream, but he's dropped back a bit. And it makes me wonder whether he's actually running quite a low downforce qualifying type of setting on his car, because he seems to be very quick in the first sector. As we look at Carlos de la Torre with the medium tyres running in 9th place, he's catching up to Mr. Pardo there in 8th place, and we'll be looking to try and put a move on him soon. Both these guys are running medium tyres, so you would expect them to be on similar sort of strategies to each other, as we see Mr. Garbett there getting a bit out of shape.
Ken Garbett. Sorry, I'm back as well, but that was looked like a rough hit there at the pit entry.
Yeah, it didn't look too good, but it's a difficult pit road to get into this one, as we discussed. Looks like our leader, as we see Del Torre hit the wall, looks like our leader's either in pit lane or has spun somewhere, because he's dropped what looks like 36 seconds off the lead.
Yeah, so Cobos has just come out of the pits now.
Right, so I'd expect him to be on a 2-stop strategy. Particularly now, yeah, he's gone for the medium tyre, so this is interesting. So he's definitely committed to a 2-stop and doesn't feel that he can get he doesn't feel like he can do the three segments of the race on the soft tyre. It's very marginal. I was discussing it with Theo Lupu before the race, and he thinks he can. So if he wants to be aggressive in this battle, he will put the soft tyres back on again at his first pit stop.
And it's very possible as well. I mean, there's so many different strategies at play with everything. Emery Anderson here is in the pits as well now. Let's see what tires he comes back out with. I see yellow flags popping up for somebody. Someone's going slow there. I don't know who that is. Rashad Murphy's into the wall a few times, which I think was the one that was going slow for Jeff Hooten.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see now when Jeff hits, because he was the first of the medium tyre runners. It looks like
it's like Theo Lupu's coming in. He's in.
Yes, so he's in for his first stop. I expect him to go back out on the soft tyres. Looks like Jeff Lacey might have had a pit stop, judging by the timing screens. Yeah, as Jeff Hoot comes in himself. So yeah, we're getting a rash of 2 stoppers. So I'd expect Jeff to be in either having just come in or to be in his lap if he hasn't already pitted.
Theo Lup is back out with soft tires. And it looks like Jeff Hooten's probably going back out on medium tires again. Oh no, he hasn't even stopped yet. And now he's backing up. I'm not really sure where he's trying to go. Issues in the pit lane.
Yeah, so it's going to be an interesting strategy battle now, because looking at the stop time, Kobos has dropped 10 seconds on Lupu, and assuming that they both had a normal pit entry and pit exit, I would expect that to mean that Kobos has filled his car up more, and he's going to run a longer middle stint on the medium tyre.
Sorry, I was jumping. Looked like there were 2 cars in the pit, but I'm not sure who. Sceptura's coming back out on mediums. There's someone else in there, but I don't know. Oh, probably there. Yeah, Carlos is in there, which he's been sitting there for I think a bit. He may be having. Oh, he's got 100%. Software says he has 100% aero damage, so he may be getting that fixed.
Yeah, it sounds like quite expensive repairs there.
Yeah, I would think so. But I guess if it's at least it's fixable, then you can get back out there and keep going.
Yes, yeah. It seems like Lirio, who was quick and qualified up front, has dropped out of the race, I'd imagine. We saw him pinging around, so I'd imagine that it was some sort of ping-related issue on the service side for him, which is a shame, because he was a quick driver.
Right, we've lost 4 at the moment. Thomas Calvert down there at the bottom, Lirio, Lazama, and then Timo Klein. So P14, 15, and 16 are all out of this race. So there are 13 racers left.
Yeah, so Chris Barnes, who is up there in third, I don't think has made pit stop yet because he is on the hard tyres.
He's actually going in right now. That was perfect.
Perfect timing. So yeah, again, he's looking to probably, judging by this pit stop time, be in for a first of 2. I don't think you can get to the end of the race filling up the car at this stage. But I think that some people will try and extend this stint if they don't think they can get 3 stints of soft tyres. Versus trying to run like a more even soft tyre than sort of like a half to a third of the tank full and then stopping again.
Right. I wonder how far you can get on a, like, if you go map 1, like how much that really extends.
It's
I mean,
probably worth.
you're obviously going really
a
slow,
lap,
but
I don't know. Yeah, I think that's worth about a litre a lap, roughly. Usually, because it's usually about 4 litres, 4.5 maybe. I'm not sure. I've not actually looked at the specific per lap numbers of this. So if I'm talking out my behind, I do apologise. But usually, map 1 versus map 5. Map 5 being full rich, full power. Map 1 being full lean, full fuel save. Can be as much as a litre a lap, a long lap like Spa. But yeah, it could be a second or 2, if not 2.5 seconds a lap slower, just because there's so much wide open throttle on the circuit.
let's see. It's on Chris Swisher, which he's about 1 second. See, Chris Swisher is the closest position battle at the moment with Pardo right ahead. Same with Wyzorak. Wyzorak is now trying to catch up to the backside of Murphy for P10.
He's been in the walls, John. Brave man stepping into this race with 0 practice. As we see him wrestle with the car on corner exit there. But yeah, it's been a tough race. Lots of bangs, lots of getting shuffled back, and the drive-through is not going to help his cause much at all. Looks like Pardo there hit the wall on exit of Stavolo. That could just be the server. So it looks like Swish has managed to make that pass, making it stick into the bus stop, but it looks like Pardo's going to look up inside again. It's not going to be able to make it. I wonder if he dives to pit road with lots of damage. No, it's probably just in a server kind of ping malfunction. Driving out Peru, it's quite a long ping for the internet to travel up. You sometimes get these sort of server misrepresentations, as we see John Wyzorak look to the inside, and it's not really on there by John on that overtake into Lafania. It's not much of a braking zone in these cars. It's more like a light brake and down a few gears, and you just use the downforce and throw the car into the corner. Really, he's going to want to just set Murphy into the bus stop, I think. Looks like he's got the draft on him there. He's got the DRS open. He should make this pass quite easily into Blanchimont, and he does.
To the outside of Blanchimont.
Yeah, take some courage. Yes, Pardo's in 8th position. Looked like quite a big hit, but yeah, I don't know whether we'd have to check on the software, Jared, whether he's got damage from that or not.
So the software says that he doesn't have any. No damage from what it can tell.
Yeah. So it could just be the server ping misrepresentation of where he is on the track, maybe.
Right.
Because that was it looked like quite a hard hit. So yeah, I'd imagine that was just ping. Because he's still hanging on to the back of Swisher up ahead.
Let's go on.
7th place, I believe.
Yeah, so this is a battle for 7th, between 7th and 8th, which he just got by with the DRS, I think. Software says he has 2 left, so I don't know if that's officially true or not, but he's going pretty fast there.
Yeah, it's interesting looking at the gaps up front. So Lupu came out of the pits with a 10-second lead over Kobos, but he's managed to stretch that to 17 seconds. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see, because I reckon now Lupu will pit for his second stop before Kobos. I reckon Kobos is going quite long in this middle stint, to see whether he can then shorten the last stint, put the soft tyres back on because he's running mediums now, and sort of attack again. But I don't know whether that's going to be effective as a strategy, because he's going to be giving so much time away with the heavier fuel load and the slower tyre at this stage of the race.
Swisher will probably catch up to Pardo here in just a second. Oh, well, I don't know what just happened there. Something with the server. I was going to say he was going to catch up because Pardo had a slowdown, and Swisher had a DRS right behind him, but then they had a slight collision from the server, or kind of just went crazy. But now Pardo is behind Swisher again in P8. So and it's showing Swisher with 100% engine damage. Don't know how true that is.
Yeah, because he's what, supposedly 7/10 of a second behind Swisher, and I can't see Swisher in the shot. So yeah, I reckon the server's having a bit of a hiccup.
I think so, because that's Swisher right there, and he's missing altogether.
Yeah, looks like he's running the Romulan cloak, which is probably a loophole that the FIA are going to close in 2022.
Yeah. Not that I'm hoping for an issue with Swisher, but I'm hoping that's an issue with him and not with my connection to the server. I guess we'll find out. We'll all find out together.
Yeah, it's interesting watching Lupu now. He smells how the race is unfolding. He knows that he's going to have to push now in this stage of the race versus Kobos. You see him taking quite extreme lines, except Stavilo trying to use all aspects and all area of the road to try and get those fast laps down. But it's working. He's pulled out 8.6 seconds roughly now in this stint so far on Kobos. So I'd expect him to pit somewhere around the 50-minute mark if he's going to run this race in 3 segments of a third distance each, which would be approximately how many laps? 15 laps or so? 10, 15 laps. So yeah, he's got to maximise this advantage that he's had for the past 5 laps since his pit stop.
Yeah, most definitely. Well, he has about a 18, 19 second lead now at the moment over Kobos and P2. There's not really a whole lot of switching around at this moment. Everyone's kind of fanned out once again. See if Swisher's still not there, at least in the software, according to me. But he's out there. So we'll check back and see what happens with him. Pardo's still out there.
Yeah, it's interesting seeing Jeff Lacey. He's now closed the gap to Kobos to 8.8 seconds as my cat decides to rub his face on my microphone. Because he's on the soft tyres again, so I would imagine that he's on a similar strategy to Lupu in terms of 3 segments, soft tyres on each, and push all the time. So this could be a strategic mistake by Kobos to run the middle stint super long on fuel with the medium tyres. But then it's one of those situations where if you are, as DDF found, if you can do the lap time, as we've seen Kobos can do the lap time, he's got the fast lap of the race, but you're wearing out the tyres too much, you have to really rethink the strategy. And in that case, if he couldn't make it on 2 stop with soft tyres, it might have been worth his while to try the 3 stopper with low fuel, because he would have been even quicker in the opening stint. He could have tried to build more of a gap than he was able to do, as it turned out, on the same opening stint strategy as Lupu.
Right. I know from watching DDF earlier, it was like 11-second pit stop with 50 some liters of fuel and 4 tires, plus you're in and you're out. So I don't know if Kobos is trying to maybe keep it under a certain amount of time to maybe catch feel, once he goes back in for his second pit stop to close the gap that way, perhaps. But
yeah, quite possibly.
Quite
possibly. I think it's a 72, 74 litre drop versus a 55 litre drop on a 2-stopper versus a 3-stop. So that will come into play. But the stops are so short, I don't think there's much to be gained in playing the strategy that way. If this was something like a GT3 endurance race where each were roughly about a second, so roughly about every litre of fuel you add is about a second in terms of fill time, then yeah, that kind of minimizing the amount of time you're refueling is very effective. It's why we see in the 1-hour races everybody fill the tank to start off with and just changes those front tires. Yeah, that gap's up to 21 seconds now. This is the crucial stage of the race. If Lupu can get the gap up higher, and they both have a stop to make, both himself and Kobos, then that's going to put him in the box seat to win this race, assuming neither makes a mistake.
Let's see here. I guess what I'll do is, since everyone's kind of fanned out here, well, let's go. I'm just gonna go down through the field. As you're seeing Theolupu here on lap 25, coming up to a back marker at some point there. I'm not sure who that is. We'll find out here in a second. But what's he got? As of right now, like a 22.3 second lead over Jean Kobos back here in P2. He's been there for quite a bit of time now, as Theodore's been talking about running mediums, maybe running the long game, see if it works out for him or not. No one will know until Theolupu comes in for a pit. You have P3, you have Jeff Lacey. He's been there for a while as well. He's about 8 seconds, almost 9 seconds back from P2 and Kobos. On further back, about 13 seconds, 13 and a half seconds from Lacey, you've got Jeff Hooten. He's been kind of stuck there in P4 as well. Working on some back markers. So they're definitely, I think that's a back marker. Should be. Does I say that? Chris Swisher is out of the race? Finally? No, I shouldn't say finally. I don't mean that in a bad way, but he was one that was missing for quite a while. Looks like he is now out of the race. Pardo is coming in for a pit stop. Oh, I don't know. Nope, I'm wrong. He's back out there again, but he's still missing.
I think that was Della Torre, who is...
sitting sideways. Yeah, you're correct. Swisher was just still invisible.
Yeah, he's... that's one way of sneaking up on your position, I suppose.
Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting if he can be seen by all of them and just not seen by us in the software or not. I don't know. But looks like John's coming in. He was on a soft tire, so this is what his second pit stop, third time through with the drive-through. He's now onto the medium tire, so he's going back to what he started on. Or did he start on hard?
Yeah, I think he's going to the end of the race right now. He's gotten the drive-through for speeding the pit lane.
Oh man, he's probably
Yeah, pull the plug. One of those days. One of those days.
So Mr. Wazorek has retired after a second drive-through penalty for him. Unfortunate. So going through the field really quickly as we catch up. Christopher Barnes here, P5. He's about 18 seconds behind Jeff Hooten in P4. Still on the hard tires. He's been the only one to do hard tires twice in his pit stops. So we're going to see where that ultimately puts him, where he's going to end up at the end. P6, Matteo Sceptura, he's about 4 seconds back. You can still see Christopher Barnes there, probably in the shot there. He's about 4.6 seconds back, sitting in P6. Emery Anderson, still rolling out there, still doing well. P7 for him. He's about 62 seconds back from Matteo in P6. So Emery's going to try to hold on to P7 as the invisible Chris Swisher This says he's about 5/10 back, which he probably would be if you could see him. He's got DRS, so he's doing something out there. He's invisible. It's kind of like the Wonder Woman jet, if anyone remembers that. The invisible jet, he's in the invisible FRX17. P9, John 2 Pardo, he's about 15 seconds back from the invisible Chris Swisher in P9. Brashad Murphy, P10, he is what, about 16, 17 seconds back in P10. And then Ken Garbett, the last running vehicle out there, sitting in P11, about 12 seconds, 12 and a half seconds back in P11. So right now we're down to 11 people left. There's all 11 for you. The closest are these two, Emery Anderson and Chris Swisher, the invisible one. So I'm not really sure what's still happening with Swisher, but everyone else has kind of distanced themselves a little bit. Not Chris Lacey, but Jeff Lacey is he was about 8 seconds. Now he's under that to Kobos. So he's trying to make his way on the soft tires compared to medium with Kobos.
He's doing well there, Jeff. Closing that gap to Kobos. If he can get to Kobos, it'd be interesting to see whether he can put a move on him, considering Kobos is on the medium tires.
Right. And I'm trying to see. I was trying to figure out who. It's not Garbett. I was trying to see. So Emery Anderson, that's the back marker that Lacey is trying to get around. So you're going to start seeing some of these guys have some back markers that might slow them down ever so slightly. But that really hasn't, because he's now 6 seconds back. So he picked up a full second there. So Kobos may be really starting to maybe use some engine maps, or maybe he's trying to do something crazy on the fly. That's really slowing him down, because he's, what, about 30 seconds now back from Theolupu in P1.
Yeah, he could be thinking about trying to stretch his fuel to the end of the race from this position, which I don't think that would be possible, because I think you need about 225 litres on map 5 to get to the end of the race. So if we assume that he started with, let me think, about 75, 74 litres of fuel on a straight 2 stopper, he got to 1/3 distance. I don't think he'd be able to squeeze out 100 and what would be about 140 litres roughly, if you think about it. 150 litres he would need to make the end of the race on that engine map. But obviously, yeah, running a lower map, he could save some fuel and try and do it that way. But I'm not entirely sure it's possible.
Yeah, I wouldn't think so either, because what Theo's been in, he's been in twice now, correct? From what I remember?
No.
He's only been in once?
Yeah. Yeah, he's due for his next pit stop in probably 4 or 5 laps. At 2/3 distance, I'd imagine he'll probably pop in to the pits and get his final load of fuel, final set of tyres, and go on. It'd be interesting to see as well if he moves to the medium tyre, given that he's got a 30-second lead.
Right.
He might feel that the wear is marginal and think, okay, right, I'm going to put the soft tyres on and then just be safe. But then, yeah, as we've seen, he's been able to really pull out that gap on Kobos, so that might not be the smartest move, or the most or the quickest move to get you home quickest, but it will make the finish the most exciting as we see that gap reverse itself in the final stint of the race.
Right. And I'd have to assume he's only going to do probably one more stop, so yeah, definitely. I'm trying to think of different scenarios on the fly in my head, and it's probably a bad thing I'm trying to do that. But we'll find out. We'll all find out what these individuals will do here, probably the next couple laps when it comes to pit stops.
Yeah, I think the second stops are going to be upon us soon. It's interesting that we've seen everybody do a 2-stopper, considering that the 1 stop is an option, and that DDF won with the 3-stopper in the Oceania race. But it seems like the 2-stopper is the most popular strategy across all the servers. It sounded like most of the guys in Europe were using the 2-stopper strategy this afternoon.
It's only a good strategy if it works, and it looks like it's working.
Yeah, it's like the reverse kind of like strategy that you'd want to do in a car like this, in terms of you have to attack all the time, as we see Jeff with an early pit stop. I wonder whether he is going to move to the medium tires and do a longer final stint, because 36 minutes seems to be a long way to go on soft tires. But if he is confident in it, then it's going to be interesting to see what he can do now, because he's going to obviously get fresh tires, so he's going to try and undercut Kobos ahead of him.
Right. And he stayed on the softs, so I mean, oh yeah, I keep thinking GT3 or GT times where it's like over 2 minutes, but yeah, they're what, like 140 something. So it'd be hard to think he would be able to make it to the end on fuel, unless the map 1 or map 2 is fuel saves a lot better, which it would, but it saves enough where you can make it all the way to the end on a lower mapping.
I think at this stage you can add enough fuel that fuel isn't a worry to the end of the race. It's whether or not your tires are going to last. I think it's going to be the deciding factor.
Well, with that pit stop, he's gotten himself into a little bit of a scrap with Sceptura, so P4 and 5 up in the air, up for grabs here at the moment. We'll actually stick with this for just a second. Let's go. I love the cockpit views. I try to use them as much as possible.
Yeah, it really gives you a sense of the speed and how quick everything's happening in the cockpit, and how quick everyone's having to think and react and plan and everything. But yeah, Sceptura obviously wants to get ahead of Jeff because he's got lower fuel. His tyres on the mediums are probably doing alright. And obviously Jeff's on colder soft tyres coming out of the pits.
Ooh, so Jeff's going back in again, so he must not have done something that he wanted.
Yeah, he must have either not put enough fuel in or wants a different set of tyres, it looks like, but we'll see what happens. But yeah, that's a shame for Jeff, because he was looking good to try and take second off Kobos there.
Stick with it for just a second. I want to see. Oh, so he may have gotten only fuel only. So now he's on hard tires. So I would have to assume that he is probably not stopping until the end. Oh, Jeff Hooten's gone. That's a shame for him. I didn't realize that.
Oh, that's a shame. He was looking good as the highest running medium tire runner on the opening stint, but unfortunately it seems to have gone south slightly there.
So now Theolupu has a 31-second lead over Kobos in P2, and then there's a 40-second lead for Kobos in P2 to Christopher Barnes in P3. So 1, 2, and 3 are very much spread way out.
Yeah, it's the race really is in Lupu's hands right now, assuming that he puts another set of soft tires on, but he's going far enough into the race that I think that he should be fine to put another set of soft tires on. And with a 30-second lead, even though Kobos will pit a few laps after him, I reckon, given the 10 seconds more the fuel that Kobos had, and the obviously the lack of pace comparatively, because he's lost 22 seconds in this stint alone to Lupu. That gives Lupu, I think, enough of a margin, even if Kobos pits late on and has very low fuel and fresh tyres and can really attack. I don't think he'll have enough laps to catch Lupu.
Right. Yeah, I think. I mean, I didn't see any of the European ones. I think GDF was in the 50s for laps, if I remember right. Oh, oops, sorry.
That's an aerodynamics test and a half.
Yeah, I don't mean to. I don't mean to be on him. I think I hit a button. I just want to be on auto director because auto director will move around more than what I will. But there are double digit leads for mostly everyone except for Christopher Barnes there in P3. Matteo Sceptura is about 7 seconds back, but everyone else is very much spread out. So
yeah, it'd be interesting to see if the battle between Sceptura and Barnes begins to begin, because I think Barnes is running the hard tires still.
According to the software, he still is. So you've got Barnes and Lacey now on hard tires, and then Kobos and Sceptura are on mediums, at least in the top 5. And then Theo's the only one with soft tires there in P1.
Yeah, so it's interesting. I'll be interested to find out what went on with Jeff Lacey's second stop and then subsequent third stop, because it was a bit odd to then put on hard tires at this stage unless he had excessive tyre wear. It's possible he might have actually damaged the suspension, and that could be causing him to wear the tyres out a little bit too much. I've had that in races in the past. It forces you to have to rejig your strategy on the fly, which is less than optimal. Sceptura is just falling back off Christopher Barnes now. One of the benefits of the hard tyres over medium obviously is harder compound, less overall grip, but it wears much better, so you get less pace fall off as the stint progresses. And Sceptura on the mediums, they're going to be wearing quite a lot by this stage, right at the end of the second stint. But they're still, they're not going to be as bad as a set of soft tires, for instance. But you will be giving up pace to the hard tires at this stage for sure.
Let's see here. So he's still about over 7.5 seconds back from Barnes there in P3. So everyone is just kind of hanging out where they are at the moment. Which
yeah,
I was gonna say, if you're out there, that's certainly not a bad thing. Rather be in clean air and by yourself and still on the track rather than having issues in the wall or completely out. So at least that's the way that I look at it.
Yeah, for sure. You're an hour into the race. You're getting tired as well. These things are incredibly mentally taxing to drive because everything happens so quickly. At this stage, you're probably thinking, it's an hour feels like a year, and then you look up and there's still a race to go, and you've got another pit stop to navigate as well. So it'd be interesting to see at the second pit stop who does what, and I think it might explain a bit more about what we've been watching as we see Lupu. So the race leader's in for his final pit stop. I'd expect him to put on another set of tyres, another set of soft tyres rather.
So we're gonna see the time
and then go out again.
Just fade away with Kobos there in P2. So we're gonna see.
He might get out ahead of him because he had a 32-second lead.
It's gonna be close.
Like he will. Yeah, it's gonna be very, very close. He's got him already. So yeah, that is fantastic news if you're Theo Lupu, because that means that even if Kobos pulls a rabbit out of his fuel tank and can get to the end on those medium tyres and that tank of fuel, he's got to still catch you, and you're probably going to be quicker on a set of soft tyres versus set of new soft tyres, versus a set of rather second-hand by this stage medium tyres.
Right. And Kobos has a back marker there in between them as well, so does not help his doesn't help his effort.
It doesn't. It's quite interesting to see how this race has played out and the strategy choice that Kobos has made, because Otherwise, I think it would have been a very good and tight race between himself and Lupu because they were very evenly matched on pace. But it depends. I mean, he was the quickest. He qualified on pole. And it could be that some drivers, if they're extremely quick here, they just can't make a two-stopper on soft tyres. They just wear them too much.
So Lacey will probably get back P4 as he's gone. Yeah, so he's already passed Sceptura. Sceptura's coming back out on, it's like medium tires. Hope for no drive-through, which looks like he does not have one, so made it out there. But Jeff Lacey's, even with his extra pit stop, now on hard tires, he's up there in P4, which is where he was prior to his little setback.
Yeah, it was...
Kobos. Kobos, there you go. So Kobos is now in the pit.
Very, very interesting. So I wonder if he puts a set of soft tyres on. Yeah, he does. It's very, very, very interesting there. I think it's a case of I don't think he thought he could go three segments. Sorry, so two stops, three stints on the soft tyres as he gets a bit happy on the throttle pedal exiting pit lane.
Yeah.
And that's why he went for a set of mediums in a longer middle stint. Unfortunately, versus somebody who could keep the tyres under them for 2 stops and 3 stints in Lupu, it's going to put him way behind. So sometimes in these sort of races, it can pay to just back your pace off just slightly, so that you can take advantage of different tyre choices over your opposition.
My apologies. Well, auto director will just move it back up to Theo anyway, since the times are pretty big between each other. It's like Matteo Sceptura is the closest to the next position. They're on track, and he's still 4 seconds back. So
yeah, I think Christopher Barnes is the last person of the top 5 to need to make a pit stop, unless I'm mistaken.
You are not mistaken. No, he should be making. Well, yeah, he's only made 1 right now. I think he's only 2 sets of hard tires. I think, pretty sure.
Yeah, so I think he'll have to pit at some point for fuel. I don't think he can stop at 1/3 distance and put enough fuel in the car to make the next hour of racing.
Oh, look at that! Perfect.
Right on cue. So yeah, he's probably going to put hard tires on again, even though with 25 minutes to go, probably about 12 laps. He could probably put a set of soft tires on and lap quickly. It would be probably in his interest to do that as well, because Jeff Lacey is going to make about 30 seconds up on him. He's about 40 seconds ahead of Jeff Lacey. Jeff Lacey obviously is out of position due to his 3rd pit stop immediately after his 2nd pit stop, where he swapped the soft tyres for hard tyres, but Christopher Barnes puts the hard tyres on again. So this will be an interesting battle.
It's over there.
Yeah.
Now he has to drive through.
Very easy to do. Very, very easy to do. So that's a stroke of luck for Jeff, because he'll move up into P3 with that, which is probably from his point of view good, and lucky, and probably a little bit justice in his eyes, I'd imagine, in terms of whatever drama he had that caused him to make an extra pit stop as well. It means he'll be back in P3, which is where he probably would have been otherwise, although his dramas has cost him a shot at P2 because he was closing that gap before the 2nd pit stop.
But as we always know, anything can happen, especially with Spa and these. So Jeff Lacey anyone could end up anywhere by the end of these 22 minutes. So
Yes, yeah, it's a sort of dangerous thing once you sort of get spread out in a car like this, a track like this, and you fall into a groove in the last stage of the race. You've got big gaps because it's very easy to just let your mind wander. And if you let your mind wander, then you're more likely to make a mistake. And if you make a mistake, you're more likely, you're going to lose a lot of time.
I was just noticing that Sceptura was closing the gap ever so slightly to Lacey. It was under 3 seconds there for a moment.
Interesting. So.
Oh, that won't help his cause though.
No, a little bit. Just lock the brakes on corner entry. Had to get off them to obviously prevent himself from sliding forwards to the runoff, and just had to grapple with the rear end there. Same thing with the La Source. I imagine he probably wants to play around with the brake bias to get that more to where he needs it to be. But he's inching up on Jeff, and Jeff with the hard tires rather than the medium tires or even the soft tires is potentially going to be vulnerable to Sceptura by the end of the race, because there's not a particularly long amount of the race to go. There's 21 minutes, so again that's 10 just over 10 laps, 15 laps, and Sceptura is going to have the pace advantage, or in terms of the tire advantage to be more accurate, for the majority of the rest of this race. Jeff might have best tires right at the end of the race, but you don't want to have a situation where the guy's already got ahead of you, because catching's one thing and passing's another, and it's very easy to make your car extremely wide with a couple of laps to go, when the incentive to keep the guy behind you is very, very real.
Especially with DRS, it makes it even tougher.
It does. Yeah, he's closing up again on this lap. It looks like he's taking 2-3 tenths of a second a lap off Jeff, it looks like. So we'll have to see if he can make more time up on this lap. Yeah, he shaved about 3 tenths off this lap, as it looks like Barnes is serving his drive-through.
Yeah, so you should come back out P5. Not too terribly far behind those two, but probably not enough to catch back up with those hard tires.
Yeah, it's a shame for him. He's driven a good race on the hard tires to start off with, and it was exactly as we said at the outset, that it's more a race of keeping out of trouble than getting into it with people and just like running and reacting to other people. Just run your race, do the best that you can, get to the finish line as quickly as you can, and then see where it all falls out. Because by doing that and keeping his nose clean, keeping out of battles, making clean pit stops until his last pit stop, he was up in third place, and it was a very solid drive. So it's a shame that it's come undone at the end. But he's close enough to Sceptura that he's going to want to keep pushing. Because if Sceptura comes up to Lacey and they start battling, they're going to lose time. He's close enough at 1.6 seconds. If they start battling, as he's just trying to clear a slowdown he got there on the exit pure, he's close enough that if they start battling, he could quite easily make that gap up. So he's not out of the fight for third place at all. If he can finally get rid of this slowdown penalty, and I've been there, they are quite tricky to get rid of. The time it penalises you that it thinks you've gained as you finally get rid of it is often a lot more than you've actually taken. It's quite punitive in that sense, and it can be quite tricky with how it decides where you can and can't give time back. As we ride on board with Sceptura, and he's closed the gap down to now 1.6. It was 2 seconds beforehand, so yeah, he's just inching up on Jeff at about 3 tenths of a second per lap. So he's probably going to get there. He's going to get DRS either 2 or 3 laps from now, and then he will probably close the gap right up to Jeff, and we'll see hopefully a good battle to the end of the race. unfortunately that slowdown for Barnes has cost him at least 2 seconds on that lap. And as you saw, it was just from going wide at the exit of the first part of Puon, and he would not have gained 2 seconds, but unfortunately that's how the game decides to penalise people who are abusing track limits, and it is quite punitive, but it's the same for everybody, so you just have to kind of get along with it, really.
Ooh, who was that going off there? It has to be
That Jeff Lacey? That was Jeff Lacey.
Oh wow, so Jeff kind of missed everything going through there. He's giving up P3 there to Sceptura.
Yeah, it's a shame for Jeff. He finally had P3 back after his drive-through, but yeah, he's probably just pushing a little bit too hard, knowing that Sceptura was just getting closer and closer. And I often think in my head when driving and in battles like this, particularly towards the end of the race, it's best just to drive clean lines, and if the guy is going to catch you, he's going to catch you. To not make a mistake, because as we've seen, by making a mistake, he's lost P3 and he's unlikely to be able to get it back, barring a mistake on Sceptura's part. Sorry. Now he's probably going to fall into the clutches of Barnes if Barnes has the pace on the hard tyres versus Jeff. Yeah, Barnes is only 2 seconds behind Jeff there. So we'll see after this lap to see whether he actually is catching up to Jeff. But it might be a case that now Jeff is the cork in the bottle, as it were, that was forming his release Sceptura, that Jeff can lap quicker than Barnes, and Barnes won't be able to catch up to Jeff. Whereas if he got into a battle with Sceptura, then he would hold himself up and Sceptura, and they both lose time, not taking quick lines, quick braking points, focusing more on trying to get ahead of the other person rather than driving less line, and that would have allowed potentially Barnes to have closed the gap up to that battle. Yeah, just watching Jeff's lines here. Oh, sorry, this is Barnes' lines. Does look like those hard tyres are definitely not the optimal for speed, as his lines were a little bit wide at various apexes, but he is getting closer to Jeff, so we'll see whether he can get within a second of the line and get that DRS. Yeah, as Jeff goes wide, Jeff's pushing hard, but unfortunately it's slipping away from him at this point. With the DRS surely will activate it at the exit of Kemmel, as he does. He's got 2 remaining after this activation, but he's going to close that gap up to Jeff into the combo. He's still far too far back to make an attack. He should get a lot closer on the back part of the lap through Blanchimont and into the bus stop. So this time next lap he might be close enough to think about launching an attack. He's also got the benefit of having run hard tyres through most of the race, that he knows what the car is going to be doing on these tyres as he burns the DRS there, but Jeff's very slow through Puon. It looks to me as if Jeff is struggling with his car somewhat, whether he has an issue or not, but Barnes sends it up the outside into Lifania. Can he make it stick? He can. That's a very good and aggressive move. But I can't help but think that Jeff Lacey has some kind of drama going on with his car for that pass to be that easy where it was.
Right. I was going to say, not that, I don't know, maybe going through the grass there a lap or two ago might have really hurt the tires more than what you think, I guess. Even though he goes to the outside there, and now they're side by side going through the bus stop. Or no? Or is that a back marker? Yeah, that's them. Yeah. Now I'm getting all confused about who's who. So many cars out there all bunched together now that haven't been. So.
Yeah, Sceptura's up there in 3rd, and you've got looks like Emery Anderson in 8th is the back marker. But yeah, Jeff now has DRS, as Emery very politely gets out of the way.
Yeah.
But also, I believe that's the race leader called to lap them as well. So this is going to get very interesting.
It is. There's Mr. Lupo.
Spicy. Everybody lapping everybody else. It's like a multi-class race up there. There's 4.4 miles of the circuit, and they've all managed to find one bit to be all on it together. Yes, Jeff goes up the inside into Le Common. Looks like he pulls the move off. So yeah, we've got a battle going on for 4th place. It's raging quite a lot as Barnes attacks the curb there at Malmedy. Yeah, as they go through No Name, Jeff was just a bit unsure of the car there on exit, twitched on the curb. But he was very slow through the centre of Puon last lap, but he doesn't make the same mistake as we've got Scaputura. Looks like he is making a mistake as well. So we've got 3rd, 4th and 5th right stacked up together.
Yeah.
As Barnes makes a slight error, just takes too much curb on the inside, but he's got the leader behind him as well, so yeah, he just gets out of it, lets Lupu go. So yeah, for our race leader, who's actually now dropped about 10 seconds or so, maybe more closer to 15, to Kobos in 2nd, but with 5 or 6 laps to go, I don't think he's in danger of losing the lead.
Ooh, I think Scaputura. Oh no, looks like he had gotten turned around, but I guess not.
He almost did. That was Lacey was right on the limiter there, going into the bus stop, and was able to pressure him into mistake. So that was a good move from Lacey on the undercut, but Scaputura is going to come back at him with DRS now, I believe. Yeah, he opens it up, and Lupu is now in the worst possible position for a race leader with 10 minutes to go. He's got 2 battling cars ahead of him and another car behind him, which is involved in the battle, who will want to get by him and get involved in the battle. So these 2 cars up ahead of him are probably completely unaware, as one would be in the middle of a battle, that the leader's right there. But with 18 seconds in hand, it's not crisis stations for Lupu at all yet. But he does not want to see that gap shrink down any further than it is. It's going to be very unnerving having to try and navigate these 2 cars. Even though you have blue flags in this game, they're not actually, there's no penalties for them. So even though Scaputura and Lacey as well should be getting out of his way, he's been behind them now for 3/4 of a lap, they're actually under no obligation, per the rules of the game, to get out of the way, even though it is probably considered very ungentlemanly to be holding the leader up like this.
Yeah, this is definitely not the Formula One regulations right here.
No, it's not. From Scaputura's point of view, he's probably like, well, I'm in a battle for 3rd place. And you know,
if I was in his
3 seconds on this lap,
right, if I was in his seat, I'd probably be thinking the same thing. But it's all differing opinions of when it comes to back markers and blue flags and whatnot. But it looks like Theo is going to just insert himself in between those 2.
sometimes you have to just go full send, and I'm sure Scaputura will be very aggrieved at how aggressive the pass was, but Lupu had to get on with it. I mean, he just shipped 3 seconds on that lap.
Right.
With 4 laps to go, I mean, he's got a 15-second lead. You say, oh, he should be alright, but you know, it leaves him very little room. As we see Barnes on the DRS, and Scaputura is going to be drafting. Looks like he wants to lap himself as he's involved in the battle there.
That's Lupu right between them still, so. But Scaputura should have been close enough to Lacey to have DRS, I would think.
I think so, yeah. He might not have activated it though because he was behind the race leaders. Lacey lets Lupu go, and you've got Barnes all over Scaputura as well. See what happens through. Lacey's again slow through the centre of Puon. Scaputura is right on him. They can't do anything about it at this point in the track. Scaputura goes to the outside.
Ooh.
A risky move, but he looks like he's going to pull it off into Stavolo.
Oh, some contact. Look at the TV view. See them just bouncing off each other, which they continue to do. And Lacey, oh! Lacey got the worst end of that one.
Yeah, that was unfortunately that was coming. Sculptura had position on him into Stavolo, and it was a bit of an aggressive pass, but sometimes you've just got to let those happen. And yeah, it's a shame for Jeff. Hopefully his car isn't too damaged.
The software right now says there's no damage, but I'd have to think there's probably some. He hit the wall fairly hard.
He did. Luckily he's got a minute and 17 on the car in in sixth, so he should be able to, even if he has damage, limp around and take fifth. But it's a shame it's taken him out of this battle.
Right, and these two now. Barnes has DRS going up the hill, and I think he's burned another one here on the straight.
He's got position in Lecom. He should take this easily if he can get it stopped, and he can. So he moves up into third position, but Sculptura, who is very quick through the middle sector, and I think he's carrying more downforce than Jeff or Barnes as well, will probably try and
they both get a little
very well.
They both get a little wobbly right there.
Does very well to hold on to that. Those tyres are probably very second-hand at this stage. The section of track where he made up a lot of time on Jeff and was able to get position on him up the inside. So we'll see. I mean, with the draft, even if he is carrying more wingers, he gets very close to catching the gravel mix of Stavolo. He should be able to make time up on Barnes and get DRS again, as they move past the lap car there on the inside.
Kobos with a slowdown penalty will not help his cause for P1.
No, he'd cut that gap down to 12 seconds, but I'm not sure he's going to have enough laps, because he's going to have to lap these two battling cars as well, which, as we saw with Lupu, with two cars engaged to stay in the race, they're not thinking about letting the leaders go on the behind them.
So there's your first DRS for Sculptura. Up the hill, flat out, I would think. Burns another one. I see a yellow flag for somebody. Oh.
That might be for Kobos, because he has dropped a lot of time back from Lupu. I wonder if he had a quick spin or something at the source. As we see Barnes lost the position to Sculptura. Gets a run out of the exit con, looking down the inside into Lefania. Yeah, it's a very difficult place to pull a pass into there, because it's a very short braking zone, but he goes wide and Barnes is through into third again. How much time does that cost Sculptura? Can he get back within a second by the end of the lap to reclaim DRS?
He had his last one right there, so
if that's not helping, close that gap back up again. Lucky to save that one. He might just get back within a second or so, but this battle is raging on currently. Yeah, looks like Kobos must have had a quick spin or trip down the escape road at La Source, because he's dropped back to 25 seconds from the lead. So any danger that Lupo was in from losing time through lapping people, that's evaporated with 3:38 to go in this race.
Sculptura with a slowdown there. That won't help him.
No, he just got a bit too greedy on the top of Radion there.
It's very easy to do.
Yes, yeah. You naturally want to do it. The back end of the car kind of moves around a bit, and it just forces you out there. So he's probably going to give up some time doing that.
Lupu all out by himself. About a 23.5, 23-second lead over Kobos in P2. And
Place to be with 2 laps to go, I reckon.
yeah, I was trying to think back. I was trying to think if Theo really had any problems throughout this entire thing. I don't think he has. Not to potentially curse him here in the last 2.5 minutes, but.
Yeah, it's definitely the case that the guy that ends up winning a race like this is the one who's able to have a clean and clear run. Kobos made a slight misstep on strategy, and that's what really cost him. So I reckon it's going to be 2 laps to go. We're 2 minutes or so at the line, minute 45 for a lap here. So it looks like Scaptura's dropped back now 5 seconds from Barnes, so those slowdowns really did cost him quite dearly in that battle, which is a shame because it was quite fierce for a few laps.
Yes, it was. I was about to say it might bring Lacey maybe back into the P4 fold, but I'm not quite sure. He now under 4 seconds, but have to see if he can pull a rabbit out of a hat in the last 2 laps.
Yeah, he seems to be closing up a bit now. Now 3.6. So yeah, we'll just have to see what happens. But yeah, it's with 2 laps to go. I think things probably going to remain quite static, barring any mishaps and mistakes on drivers' parts, which you don't hope for that to happen this late on. It's just it's gutting to have something get so late, and then if it's a mistake of your own or there's a server malfunction or something, it's not fun.
No, it's not. It's kind of the worst feeling really ever. A 90-minute race and you complete an hour of it, and 30 minutes to go, you got something, you crash out or the server messes up on you or whatnot. Like you said, it never feels good. I usually feel bad for a couple days after that happens.
Same. I had it happen with the DTM Enduro a couple of weeks back when I managed to grenade the gearbox in the longer version of the race, and yeah, I was kicking myself for a good 4 days afterwards. Was not happy. Had to pair up all my settings and find out exactly what went wrong.
Right.
Touch wood, knocks on my head. But it was that I've got the problem fixed, because yeah, that was no fun. Particularly when we had the good strategy planned and were looking good. Apart from a dodgy Bavarian gearbox.
Well, hopefully after catching the for Mr. Pardo, he has a drive-through penalty for, I believe, ignoring slowdown warnings. So hopefully, I'm not sure where he is on the track, but he may not be able to take care of that before the end of the race.
He might not know. He could end up losing 7th because of that, because I think it's an automatic 90-second penalty if you have unserved.
It is.
Oh, it's a bit sketchy there for Luke on the last lap. Not what you want to see coming up with half the lap to go.
No, never.
Yeah, it's been a good race from Luku. He's done everything right, really. Just ran his race, didn't get too overexcited when Kobos came up to him early on, but let him go, and then he came back to him and was able to pull off the correct strategy.
He stayed cool, calm, and collected, and here he is with a P1 finish after 90 minutes. Congratulations to him.
Yeah, good stuff. It'll be interesting to see whether he can get over 1900 rating with that. He's looking close. Be the first time for him over 1900, which is it's that high up. He's probably getting nosebleeds.
Yeah. Kobo's taking it nice and easy there through the last bus stop for his P2 finish. Congratulations to him. Christopher Barnes coming through. Where is he at? He is way back there. And these servers giving everyone about 3 minutes to finish. I think everyone should be. Oh, I don't know what just happened there then. the server just has decided to cut out. Pardo has a 120-second penalty for not doing the drive-through, which moves him down to P8. So Emory Anderson moves up to P7 due to the penalty. Why the server cut out so fast, I do not know. But Theolupu comes in for a P1 with a fast lap, best lap of 145 even. Gian Kobos, P2, 143.7. And Christopher Barnes comes in at P3, 1 lap down, with a 146 even. There's your podium for the FRX17 at Spa for 90 minutes. That was a heck of a race.
Well, it was very, very tough. Sort of the race of two halves. We sort of had the first half hour, first stint where everyone was bunched up and it was very punchy, and there was lots of argy-bargy and some quite aggressive manoeuvres in there. I'm sure we'll hear from a few of the drivers afterwards that might not be happy with each other. But yeah, once it settled in, it was a case of getting those strap right, nailing the middle portion of the race. And we saw that was what gave UP the win.
That it was. And, once again, congratulations to the podium winners. But then also congratulations to those who were there at the end to finish it. As I said early on a few times, you want to try to get as high as you can, but you also want to be there at the end, at least for a ranked room, when it affects your reputation and your rating. So, finishing is half the battle. Finishing in a high place is the other half that you want to try to do, but you can't do one without the other. So everyone that made it to the end, congratulations to all of them, to the podium folks. And so yeah, I know we had a lot of folks that we had a lot more viewers in Twitch than what I'm usually accustomed to. So thank you to everyone who came out to watch this. With Theodore and myself, thank you to Theodore for hanging out, for chatting along with me. It was definitely fun, and it was definitely a lot more informative than what it normally is with just me and myself. So thank you to you as well.
Thank you for having me. It's always good fun. Some of these combinations I don't really fancy driving myself, so I'll probably be back at some point to chew the fat and chin wag for an evening.
Yeah. Anytime you want. Anytime you want to race and I'm not racing either, then we can get together like this and share it through Discord and do all the crazy stuff to make it happen. So I'm down anytime, because this is it's fun to watch. It's fun to watch people race cleanly, race safely, and then also have fun doing it. So I'm sure all those folks out there probably had some fun doing it. And if they didn't, then they didn't. Can't please everybody. So.
It was some good driving. Those cars you can't underestimate how difficult those cars can be. Well done to everybody who raced and finished. It was a really clean race in a lot of ways, which is good to see. But yeah, those are very difficult cars. I do not envy people driving them at Spa for 90 minutes, as evidenced by myself being on this stream.
Right, exactly. Well, for everyone on Twitch, thank you again to those who stopped by and hung out the entire time. This will also go up on our YouTube, hopefully by tomorrow. I'm gonna see if this upload actually goes up over through the night while I'm out here in California. But if it doesn't, it'll be up at some time on YouTube. 1080p, 60 frames a second, so a higher resolution than what you saw here on Twitch. If you're a follower, a subscriber, whatnot here on Twitch, make sure to find our YouTube side that has videos going way back. I'm not even sure when the first one even was, but that is kind of our living archive of everything that we're a part of, whether it be the ranked stuff or even the unranked that we do for the community. So if you like what you saw, if you like the chatter that Theodore and I did this evening, you'll find more of that over on YouTube, where we have everything. So find your way over there, subscribe over there. If you like something, put a thumbs up on it, put a like on it, comment what you like, what you don't like. If you don't like something, let us know, and we'll try to do it better. So find the Twitter, find the Instagram, lastly, but also probably most importantly, find the Discord community, both Twitch and YouTube have links for you to get into the North America Race Room Discord community if you're not already there. It's a great place to be. We all try to promote safe racing, clean racing, but also having fun. It's an unpopular opinion. I always say it, these sims, they are video games in the end. So, I mean, if you're not having fun doing it, then why do it? So we want to have fun, but also having fun while racing the correct way within these sims, within RaceRoom, ACC, iRacing, Automobilista 2, whatever. We do them all. So jump in there, race with us. If you're, I won't say not that good. If you're a rookie sim racer, it's the best place to try to learn. We do stuff on Friday nights that are for the community, that are open to anyone. Jump in. If you own the content, just get used to racing with people that do this on a weekly basis. So there's no better place to really be. But then I also say that if you don't want to get into our community, find another community out there that allows you to race in whatever sim you want, while either working on your skills if you need more work, or keeping your skills on where they are if you're already at the top of your level. So I mean, do whatever you need to do. To number one, have fun. Then number two, get better if you're not already the best that you can be, or to stay the best. So find our community, join up, hang out in there, chat about anything you want, chat with all of us, get out on track with us, and go from there. So it's pretty simple. It's pretty easy. We're not too crazy, at least at times. So I mean, with all that, we'll call it a night. Hopefully everyone enjoyed everything they saw. The schedule has not come out yet. We don't know the schedule, so I can't tell you what might be coming up next week. Whatever it might be, I'm sure we'll have folks show up for it and be happy with it. So we'll all find out together tomorrow when they drop the schedule. So keep an eye out for that, and we'll go from there. I think Friday for the community of the North America Race Room is the Audi TTs, the 2015, 2016 at the Stowe circuit, the long one, I think. There's two variations. I think it's the long one. So if that interests you, it's a pretty fun combination. If you're interested in that, keep an eye out within the community, within the Discord community. If you're not in the community, get in there and keep an eye out for it. So join up. We can have up to 32 people, which we normally don't have 32 people. So let's try to get 32. It'd be sweet. But yeah. I think I'm done talking. I think I've talked enough. I don't even know if Theodore's still even here or not. He's still here. Oh, Lexi's in here too. All kinds of people are in here. Theodore, do you have anything else you want to add?
No, I think you've covered everything. Yeah, Stowe Circuit is the dinky little circuit inside Stowe Corner. It's awesome.
Yeah.
That one. It's the one that Rich Talon threw a F1 car around on Top Gear like 15 years ago.
There you go. So if you need reference on Stowe Circuit, look that up, and you'll be going a lot faster. He was going faster in that than what we would be in the Audi TTs. So look that up if you don't know what the Stowe Circuit is. It's fun. It's right off the side of Silverstone. So if that gives you any indication of what any of it is. So, but yeah, I think I'm good to go. Theodore, if you're good, then we'll call it a night. We'll start an upload, and we'll catch everyone back on Friday for a good stream and a good race for the community. So
that sounds like a plan. So it's a goodbye from me.
All right, you have a great evening out there. Alexi's out. He's gone. So let me disconnect from that. We still got this. Oh, I had it set up where you couldn't even hear Theodore anyway. My apologies to Theodore. I'm not used to doing this with multiple people. All right, folks. Thank you for watching. Thank you for hanging out. And we'll go from there. We'll see you next time. And as always, stay safe, stay healthy. Get in whatever sim you want to, race with whoever you need to, and just have fun. That's all this is about. So we'll catch you on Friday. Everyone have a great evening, and yeah, love you.